What's up, my kings and queens? It's your boy Suave Els, aka Don't Wear Shoestrings on the Shoes because you don't want to be tied down. This is the second episode of So Disrespectful. We got a few things we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about the Colin Kaepernick collusion case, the Antonio Brown Steelers, my thoughts on the NBA All Star. I'm also going to predict some games happening Thursday. Lastly, I'm going to speak on the Hall of Fame for WWE because the first entrance is DX, and that's just the kid in me. So once again, sit back, relax, drink some Kool-Aid, and let's go on with the show. Hit it!
Welcome to So Disrespectful.
Welcome back. So what I'm gonna start by talking about is the NBA All-Star Weekend that just happened. Overall, I give the grade. I give it a B minus, and the reason is the All-Star game. It was pretty entertaining. The first half was the same old crap, which was the no defense and everyone throwing up shots and running around left and right. Then after halftime came around, when you thought Giannis' team was about to run away, the Browns team actually crept right back in with the help of Kevin Durant being the MVP. So that game is actually pretty entertaining, let alone better than that last crap we seen where Giannis went to go dunk and Steph Curry laid on the ground. That was just horrible. Also, the other facts is the three-point contest, the skills challenge, and even the Legends thing, in my opinion, the dunk contest, well, okay, maybe it wasn't that bad. Oh, I'm kidding, yes it was. Honestly, Miles Bridges to start off with, it took him about God, I don't even know how many times I missed the dunk. Anyway, his first attempt was trash. Then you had John Collins, who when he dunked, he held on to the back of the rim to dunk it. Alright, yeah, that was cute. Then you had some guy that I ain't even heard of, but apparently he had the second best vertical leap in history of the combine in Hamidou Diallo from the Thunder. I mean, his was pretty decent. He's pretty good. But honestly, if I was a betting man, my money went to Dennis Smith Jr. I mean, I've been watching him for a while now, and I thought he was gonna win. But all in all, the dunks were, kumsi kumsa. But at the end of the day, the guy from the Thunder Dollar won, which I can say the dunk he did over Shaq was pretty good. Actually, it was really, really impressive because if you go back in time, a lot of dunk contests, a lot of people would jump over guards. I remember Nate Robinson, he actually did jump over Dwight Howard, which was pretty good. But at the same time period, you had guys being like Spike Lee got dunked over, Dallo dunked over Quavo. You had Spud Webb again dunked over. So to have a big guy like Dallo to dunk over a 7'1" Shaq, that really was pretty impressive. And he actually did hold on to him. Honestly, if you look at that Nate Robinson thing, that left arm went actually on Dwight Howard's shoulder. But at the end of the day, dunk contest, just hope for next year. Then I see the reports online that, Giannis thought about being in, a couple other ones thought about being in, which, honestly, you eat the meat, throw away the bones with that type of thing, take it with a grain of salt, because the time where stars was in the dunk contest is long gone. I mean, how long have you been waiting for LeBron James to be in the dunk contest? I mean, days we had Kobe was in the dunk contest, Vince Carter, Jason Richardson, guys who at those time period actually, was somewhat stars. But you had these other guys, I guess they want to call it the rising stars, but some people just, okay, they're good, you can get noticed, but at the same time period, we want to see the stars. I want to see Paul George. I do want to see LeBron James. I want to see Russell Westbrook. I want to see guys like that in end game these guys are dunking to kill the rim. Well, let's see can they do it on the big screen. Well, I'm sorry, the big show. But all in all, the NBA All-Star Weekend was pretty good. Joe Harris took the three-point contest, which is, once again, if I was a bet man, I would have went strictly to Steph Curry or bars Damian Lillard. Because honestly, Damian Lillard got, he can really flow. But to come out of nowhere, Joe Harris beat Steph Curry, who, everybody think he can't miss a three. The only guy who would shoot a three and before the ball leaves, and he already turned around and celebrated. And, I'm going to put out and say this. That man, he knows some hoodoo. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. But that was pretty good showing. You had Jason Tatum, who honestly stole it from Trae Young, because Trae Young back there was about to win it. Then you hear Jason Tatum from way behind throw a half-court shot and beat Trae Young in the skills challenge. So that was really good. I was really entertaining. And then the Legends 3 with you had Ray Allen, Dale Curry. That was really good. And I got to see Glenn Rice as well too. So, the skill challenge was pretty good. The celebrity game was pretty good. And, Famous Lowe's won. And honestly, y'all need to go check him out. Famous Lowe's is one of the funniest guys on Instagram. I mean, his catchphrase of why he do that boy like that. And it was just awesome to see him there. Also see a lot of the other people in the celebrity game. Honestly, personally, I would definitely want to see guys to do YouTube channels, because guys like iPod King Carter, guys like QJB, even Chris Smooth, bring those guys out there and see exactly if they can perform what they do on NBA 2K, can do it in real life. But that was just my thoughts right there. Like I said, all in all, it's pretty good. The All-Star game was really good. I just can't wait to see what's going to happen with the rest of the season. Second half is where it's grind time. First half, you did pretty good. You was playing. Sometimes you'll win, other times you lose. You will take the game serious, but sometimes you really won't, because of the first half. But once just after the trade deadline, after the All-Star, is where teams start to picking up a little bit more intensity, and you start to see who is the ones that's gonna come out of the conferences. Whether it be number one be the Bucks, it could be the Celtics, the Raptors, the Pacers. I mean, you got a lot of teams in the East that come out. Now they don't got LeBron James there anymore. Now you actually have a new team with new players in the East coming out. Of course, you still got the West. Okay, of course, you still got the Warriors. Because as much as I would love to see someone dethrone them, I really don't see nobody giving it to them. Honestly, everyone may think the Rockets, but at the end of the day, yeah, last year, I believe Chris Paul would have never got hurt. The Rockets would have beat the Warriors. But once again, the Warriors they got some hoodoo. I'm just gonna say it. So like every time they play against somebody gets hurt, somebody doesn't play. It's just ridiculous. But I still say the Warriors will come out, and in my prediction, it will be the Warriors versus the Raptors. Now, let's talk about Colin Kaepernick. And I'm gonna say this, and I know a lot of them may get heat for this, and I don't care. That's why it's called so disrespectful. I was always for Colin Kaepernick. I always was behind him, and his cause, for sure, I was for his cause. Besides, the simple fact is, if you really took this cause away, he was right. Colin Kaepernick took the blindness off America. Colin Kaepernick took the blindness off NFL. And honestly, he took the blindness off people, honestly. Unless you've been living on the rock for the past years, you can go against his stats and all stuff, but you cannot tell me out of 32 teams, Colin Kaepernick isn't better than none of them. I'm a Redskins fan. Let me just throw 3 names out. You tell me Colin Kaepernick better than Josh Johnson, Mark Sanchez, aka Mr. Butt Fumble. Oh, let me go back. Josh Johnson, who haven't thrown the pass in 7 years till he got to us. Colt McCoy. He won't better than Ryan Fitzpatrick. Jameis Winston. He won't better than Josh Allen. He won't better than a few other. Do I have to keep naming them? I mean, if you want me to go down, I would literally put under this in the description of a bunch of quarterbacks that he was better in. And you're telling me right now that Colin Kaepernick couldn't get a job in NFL? And let's be real, on his collusion case, Kaepernick won. Personally, some people say they wish they would have went to court to show the secrets of the NFL owners, but technically, do you really need to? Colin Kaepernick already showed you the intentions of the NFL. He already showed you that they conspired to keep him out. Now do you want to go to court just to see more of it? Honestly, I saw enough, and I already knew from the jump that the NFL conspired to keep Colin Kaepernick out because he pulled the blindness off the NFL when he started a peaceful protest. He didn't go around blazing guns. He didn't go around cussing people out. He didn't go around fighting left and right. He didn't go. It was a peaceful protest, a kneel, and everyone went crazy. Instead of understanding why he did it, you knew why he did it, but you just try to sweep it under the rug because this is America. We don't want nobody to know all this stuff. Once again, Colin Kaepernick pulled the blinders off. And let's listen to exactly one of the reporters who said about Colin Kaepernick winning the collusion case.
NFL. This guy is a crybaby. He's claiming he's a victim. He's claiming that there's collusion in the NFL. Now think about this, Tucker. What he has to prove in this collective bargaining claim of collusion and conspiracy is that several teams in the NFL or the NFL officials and at least one team got together and said, we're going to prevent this great football quarterback from being in the NFL because of his political views. I got a news for you. They can keep you out of the NFL for whatever reason they want. They can decide they don't like you and keep you out of the NFL. You don't have a right to be in the NFL. But he's got to prove by a clear preponderance of the evidence, with evidence, that they colluded. What evidence does he have of collusion?
So, Colin Kaepernick has no evidence, nothing. He can't win this case. Nothing, right? He's a crybaby. All of the stuff that the lady was saying about him. At the end of the day, he cannot win. He will not win this collusion case. Can he? Nah. He can't win this case. Would he?
The NFL said today it has reached a settlement agreement with quarterback Colin Kaepernick. Kaepernick says the league colluded to keep him off the field the past 2 years following his sideline protest. Beginning in 2016, no settlement numbers have been given.
Now, to finish off this, like I said, you can always go online and check all of the case, all the reports, everything. But as for the range of money, it's said to be between $60 to $80 million. That's a pretty good change right there. And a settlement. Let me understand some things, ladies and gentlemen. 9 times out of 10, when you settle, that means we don't want to go through further because either one, you can push more money on us and we can be exposed, or two, I mean, we're just tired of hearing about it. Here's the money, we're tired of it. And honestly, that's basically what happened. That's why a lot of people are mad, because they wanted to go further. But they say a settlement is not a admit of guilt. Like Shannon Sharp said, it's a admittance of guilty when it comes to your decisions. Technically, at the end of the day, Colin Kaepernick won. He beat him. He won the collusion case. So that lady said he had no chance. That was a lie. He had a chance and he won it. He got his money. The case has been settled. And the coup de grace will be that Colin Kaepernick will be in the NFL as a quarterback. And as reports, the Panthers and even the Patriots are actually looking into him. You know, one thing I know about the Patriots, and just on the side note, it seems like the Patriots are willing to take any person that has any type of controversy over them. Randy Moss, Chad Johnson, they are willing to take anybody for real. And it seems like if the Patriots can't work on you, then something ain't right, because it's a Patriots way. So by them possibly getting Colin Kaepernick, honestly, that would be another way to stick it to Roger Goodell. And that's basically what it looks like. It looks like it's Robert Kraft and the New England Patriots versus Roger Goodell. So if they were to sign Colin Kaepernick, I mean, you might as well just put Roger Goodell and Robert Kraft in a UFC or the box ring and say just fight each other, because that's basically what it looks like. So the days of Paul Tagliabue and the Oakland and the Raiders, now it's Roger Goodell and the Patriots. So that's just that. Colin Kaepernick, between $60 to $80 million. He wins the collusion case. They settle, and now, hopefully, Colin Kaepernick could be in the NFL, because he's still pretty young, still in his prime, and if he say he's still in good shape, he can run. Hey, let it happen. I'm from Virginia. I remember a time Michael Vick went to jail, and when he came out, a lot of people saying he won't be himself. After the first year, after he had the rust, he came back that following year, and as every Redskin fan would know, that first game, he tortured us. And that year, he did pretty good as well. So, there's still a chance he'll come back. There's still a chance he could be like himself, or even better. You know, it still could be all those cases. Could be better, could be worse. But at the end of the day, we would like to see Colin Kaepernick in the NFL. Now, let's talk about Antonio Brown. You know, they always said that a receiver could never be a leader of a team, because they're much more of a diva. The only thing I say is a lot of people are not like Jerry Rice. Some people don't have that leadership by example thing, that humbleness in them. I mean, you got guys like Randy Moss is a diva. Chad Johnson was a diva. Terrell Owens was a diva. Odell Beckham Jr. is a diva. Antonio Brown is a diva. It's a simple fact that you kind of knew what you would get into when you start to see it happening. See, a lot of times we want to ignore a lot of things. One thing he said was that Ben Roethlisberger has an owner mentality. I mean, he can call out people and have no repercussions. Antonio Brown, listen, I don't know if you noticed, but usually guys who, mainly quarterbacks, that are the franchise or considered Hall of Famers, they can do that. You don't think Tom Brady has not done things that will piss anybody off? You don't think that? Let me give you a prime example. What we're seeing right now, if Tom Brady goes off on the sideline, screaming at somebody, going off, just having a temper tantrum, he's passionate. He's passionate for the game. OBJ, he goes off, he's crying. He hits the field goal post, the little thing with the kickers practice. He's going off. You know what I say about him? Oh, he's such a diva. He's a crybaby. He whines and this and that. They're going to protect the quarterback, Antonio Brown. And yes, I personally, Ben Roethlisberger does have too much power. But then again, what can you really do? You know, the Rooney family, they're going to be behind Ben Roethlisberger because one, he brought them 2 Super Bowl rings. And in some aspects, he may go down he's gonna go down as a Hall of Famer. And so Antonio Brown, as of right now, yes, you are top 5 best receiver in the game right now. I give you that, and I give you want to be treated fairly. I give you want respect. It's just in this day and age, man, the quarterback is gonna get everything he wants and more, especially as someone behind him. It's only gonna be a few owners that say no, and pull them to the side and reprimand guys like Bill Roethlisberger, who calls out their players and all that stuff. Because yes, I'm not gonna lie, if I was a receiver or any type of person on offense with Roethlisberger and he called me out, 2 things is gonna happen. We get in our locker room, or we're gonna have a discussion, and it's gonna be real bad. Or number 2, depending on how I feel and what you say, we might have a TO moment where I might have to come at your head. I'm gonna have to come at your grill. And that's what needed to happen to Roethlisberger. It's a simple fact that there need to be somebody to hold him accountable for what you say. You have an all-star receiver. You don't go on TV right after the game and say that he ran a flat route. You don't do that. If you got issues, we talk behind closed doors, because anything you do on TV, anything you do in a press conference, best believe it's gonna be there pretty much forever. Because once you get TV, once it's the press conference, it's gonna hit radio, it's gonna hit media, it's gonna hit the internet. Then Twitter gonna have about 20,000 sports credits. Facebook gonna have something. Instagram gonna have something, and the internet's gonna win regardless. So at times like this, yes, Antonio Brown, you are right. You are absolutely right. And you are right to do so, as in to part ways with the Steelers. Because if no one's not going to hold Ben Roethlisberger accountable for what he done, then technically you don't need to be there. But let's just listen to what two analysts, I should say, had to say on this case right here.
And do you like those comments from AB?
I got no problem with it, because Big Ben has been doing this basically since Coach Cowell left. He's called out on the last couple of years, he's called out Todd Haley, his offensive coordinators, on numerous occasions. And I said this, Skip Bayless, you remember I came on the show, I said the problem that Antonio Brown has with Big Ben is that he keeps calling him out publicly.
You said that.
And he will accept no accountability when he makes mistakes or does something wrong. And everybody, Pittsburgh, they jump on my timeline. I'm like, you don't know, you're not in the locker room. I just gave him an opportunity. They like, you right, you right. Yeah, of course I'm right. Because I know this situation.
You were ahead of this curve.
Skip, the reason why Antonio, and he said it, is because you remember the the Denver game. After the game, Ben comes out, not even with Antonio ran that route too flat. Bro, there are certain things, Skip, even though you know a player's wrong. There have been times I knew John knew I was wrong, Ed was wrong, or the offensive line. But you do that, you handle that behind closed doors. And Ben has no problem. But Ben will never say, oh, I played bad. It's always someone else. And Ben has always been known to do that. He's always willing to put the blame at someone else's feet.
So it was interesting to me that in his Ask Me Anything, when he responded, the first 2 words were no conflict, but, and then he went into the backstory, the dirty game within a game. I'm with that. I see it. I get it. That's happened with a lot of quarterbacks in this league, because once you've won 2 Super Bowl rings, you do operate with something of an ownership mentality. You're the owner of the team, right?
Yes.
And that locker room is allowed to operate with that mentality because it is a players-run locker room.
Yes.
And to a fault, to me, Mike Tomlin allows that to happen because he's seen as one of the ultimate players' coaches, right?
Right.
And I think it's gone a little too far afield where he's lost some control of the whole group in the locker room.
I would agree.
So where the Rubicon might have gotten crossed was when Antonio liked a couple of tweets about the sexual assault allegations against Ben Roethlisberger.
Yes.
Again, there were no charges in the one in 2010 in Georgia. He did settle the one in 2008 at Lake Tahoe, and then once he settled it like 3 years later, he did take the 4-game suspension for that one, okay?
Right.
So is that crossing the Rubicon? I don't know. Is that a valid like on his part? Sure it is.
I think the thing for AB is that these same fans that say, yeah, we need to be gone with AB because he pushed the woman down.
I got it.
And in the same breath,
saying, hey,
Ben's our guy.
Yeah.
Ooh, Ben won Super Bowls.
Okay,
Ben this, yada, yada. You're like, well, wait a minute
hey,
now.
I got it.
So all in all, you just need, the partnership was good. It was awesome, honestly. To me, the Pittsburgh Steelers had one of the scariest offenses in the NFL. With Le'Veon Bell, Ben Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown, Juju, Jesse James, the offensive line. It was just dangerous. But it looks like it's imploding. Le'Veon Bell, he may be on the way out. Antonio Brown, he definitely on the way out. But at the end of the day, Ben Roethlisberger ain't go nowhere. And like Skip said, he has some type of authority because of what he done for the team. At the end of the day, just shake hands and just move on. It was good while it lasted. Won games, won a lot of games. One of the top scary offenses. It's just time to move on to the next. So after that, talk about Antonio Brown and the Steelers, let's go ahead and move back to the NBA. Thursday, February 21st, we got a few games up on schedule. We'll first start with the Suns versus the Cavaliers. I'm sorry, this is a sleeper game. I'm being honest with you. What I mean by sleeper game, not in the good aspects, how it is a sleeper game, be one of those great games out of a sudden. In my opinion, click, next game. But as in for the sports world, I'm gonna give this win to the Suns. Honestly, it's one of those. Give me a coin, toss it in the air. Heads Suns, tails Cavaliers. Whoever wins the lands on, that team wins. Another game is the Heat and the Sixers. I got the Sixers winning. I honestly believe the Sixers is on a road to going far in the playoffs as well. Ben Simmons, Jimmy Butler, Joel Embiid, even Tobias Harris. I believe that team has, if they don't have, they may be missing one piece to literally come out the East or at least make a run in the East. I believe the Sixers are going to win this game and they're going to beat the Heat. The next is the Nets and the Trailblazers. Do I really have to talk about this? Trailblazers win. Brooklyn, good luck with your next pick coming next year to begin in the top 5. Next is it's going to be an awesome game. The Celtics versus the Bucks. This is a powerhouse game. You got Kyrie and the Celtics, Giannis and the Bucks. Now this game is a game you need to keep an eye on because, like I said, it's after the All-Star break. So now teams are starting to get a little serious with what's going on now. So I really believe this game right here is going to be probably the game of the day on that time. As for winning, now this part is hard because Giannis is basically a demigod. If you play NBA 2K, you know what I mean by that. And then Kyrie just Kyrie. But I will have to give the edge a little bit to the Celtics because the Celtics still got great shooters. Got Kyrie, still got Jason Tatum, and you still got Brown. And the defense, the bench is deep too. So in retrospect, I have to give a little edge to the Celtics. So I believe the Celtics are going to win that game. The next is the Kings and the Warriors. Do I really have to answer that question? Next, Warriors win. And honestly, this is gonna be a good game, but for the Warriors, that's me, but good game. So the Warriors winning. Anywho, next is the last game was the Houston Rockets versus the Lakers. Now this game is gonna be pretty good. And the simple fact is, what is James Harden going to do? Now, he's in the news for something that Kobe said about him, which is honestly the truth for me. James Harden, the way James Harden plays, is not going to work in the playoffs. It may work in the season, but when it comes to playoff time, it's not going to work. You're not gonna be able to win a championship with that type of playing. That dribbling, 20 dribbling. Okay, out of 24-second shot clock, I use 19, so I got 5 seconds to throw the ball. Or I'm gonna dribble, come down the court, dribble, take about 10,000 step backs and shoot the 3. Stuff like that not gonna work. And honestly, we all know that James Harden don't play defense. So in that aspect, we already know it's not gonna work in the playoff. But that's the playoffs. Season-wise, between the Rockets and the Lakers. Now, what pains me about the Lakers is the simple fact is they use so much energy trying to get Anthony Davis that they didn't get him. So now, LeBron, Lil GM, Lil King, you got to work with these players you got. You got to work with Lonzo. Got to work with Rondo. Got to work with Ingram. Got to work with Kuzma. Got to work with McGee. Got to work with Tyson Chandler. You got to work with these guys, including the guy you just picked up as well. So you just got to do what you got to do. Now, I do believe that this is the time where y'all get your mind right. This is the time where y'all couldn't go to the playoffs. I don't know, going further than a wild card, going further down to the championship before you face the Warriors or anything like that. But this is the time right now where it needs to be stepped up. That game needs to be stepped up. LeBron needs to act like LeBron and bring his team up. You did it plenty of time with the Cavaliers, and I really truly believe this Lakers team had more talent than that Cavaliers team. But as a prediction-wise, final score, I don't know. But who's going to win the game? I believe the Houston Rockets. Especially, I have to check the reports that I think Clint Capella may be coming back. If that's the case, Rockets win. Hands down. Next, what I wanted to talk about was the WWE Hall of Fame, which has starring the Generation X, aka DX. Maybe because I'm 31, y'all don't understand how much of impact that was for me. So let me just give you a quick example of why I love DX.
Parents, get your children's permission to watch, because discretion is advised, but will be completely ignored.
There were so many different personalities in that group. That's why I think it works so good.
The Road Dogg Jesse James, Badass Billy Gunn, the new Age Outlaws.
Road Dogg and Billy and X-Pac, they were degenerates. There was no doubt about that.
X-Pac is about to ride some horses in Dallas. Bronco Buster.
You also had China.
She was doing to guys what guys weren't even doing to guys.
But I think we might have to change our name to Double D Generation X.
It was a crazy time in wrestling, a crazy time to be a fan. It seemed like D Generation X was at the crux of it all.
We'll start showing you some respect. Suck it!
There isn't much more in your face than telling somebody to suck it and then obviously then pointing to your crotch. Doesn't leave a lot to the imagination.
The good days of wrestling. The good days of the WWE Attitude Era. The crotch chop. DX. I'm excited to see this. They do the Hall of Fame the day before WrestleMania. And I'm very, very happy to see not just the whole DX, but China. China has got overlooked because of stuff that happened after her wrestling career. Yes, I know she went to go do modeling and porn and all that other stuff, but you can't take away from the fact that China was a groundbreaking woman in the business. No one really was thinking about a woman wrestling guys and actually make it look like a legitimate match. China was doing that. China was the first woman in the Royal Rumble. China also won Intercontinental Champion. China was doing a lot of things that technically you got her. You gave her respect because she was doing stuff that you would not typically see women at that time was doing. You gotta remember, around that time, you had like Terry Reynolds and Jacqueline. Say was doing some stuff, but when China came apart, China was knife one of the world. China was doing a lot of things that was like, wow. And it actually was groundbreaking till you can see later and down the line wrestlers like Beth Phoenix, wrestlers like Nia Jax, wrestlers like Karma, women that not only they may be a women, they use their attraction, but they also can wrestle, and that's gonna step over to the men's side. You just seen no, some of y'all seen, but for the ones who did see, Nia Jax was in the Royal Rumble, groundbreaking. Beth Phoenix was in the Royal Rumble before. She eliminated Great Khali. So China's finally getting the respect that she deserves. Shawn being the second time in the Hall of Fame. Triple H is going in there. X-Pac, Sean Waltman, 1, 2, 3 Kid, whatever you want to call her. Billy Gunn, Road Dogg. Because DX was, and honestly, may be one of the greatest factions of all time. You can put them up with the Four Horsemen, NWO, Evolution, the LWO, things of that nature. You can put them up there, but growing up, everybody wanted to be either NWO or DX. Either you want to do the Too Sweet for NWO, or you want to do the Suck It with DX. That's how we was growing up. So seeing them and getting the award that they deserve is very rewarding. And I only can't wait to see what's going to happen later. Who are the other the people going to the Hall of Fame? But basically, I will be there to look at DX getting to the Hall of Fame. I may even find a DX T-shirt and go back to what I used to do as a kid. The whole suck it chant, the are you ready, all that good stuff that me and my friends used to do growing up. You could ask any one of us. Growing up, we were diehard wrestling fans. I was Undertaker and Sting, Kamal, who was one of my old friends, Shawn Michaels. I had other guys that were Stone Cold, guys that were The Rock. I just had a lot of friends, and we all was part of that Attitude Era that we love so much. So this right here, being in the Hall of Fame, and actually WWE didn't even leak it out. It was ESPN, because around that time, we gotta remember, ESPN, they put coverage on DX when DX brought in Mike Tyson to be part of DX. Well, Mike Tyson was a part of it when Vince brought him in there in the whole Stone Cold thing, but all in all, it's a wonderful thing. I love it. I truly, truly love it. It brings me back to my childhood of seeing DX, seeing him doing that thing, and seeing the trouble that we used to get into by doing the DX chop. People jumping off chairs doing it, telling teachers to suck it, we was, as kids, some kids they probably didn't know what we were saying, but others like me, we knew what we were saying, but it was wrestling. It was DX. We telling everyone to suck it. We telling everyone, are you ready? And doing the chop and everything. We doing all of that. So this is definitely beautiful. This is definitely a great thing to say. Much respect to the DX faction, and much deserved to China, because she deserved it. WWE, finally, you got off of your tails. Finally, you get the stick out of your behind. Finally, Vince, because the only reason kept her out because Triple H is not married to Stephanie, and everyone knows that Triple H was one time dating China. You don't believe me? Look it up. There's videos of them kissing anyway. So now you give the respect that she deserves, and even a bunch of Twitter fans even say the same thing. China's getting her reward. Sadly, she did die. Sadly, she's getting a reward post afterlife, but at least she get the respect she deserves. And now we just ended episode 2 of So Disrespectful. I hope you enjoyed. If you want more, hit that subscribe button, inbox me, comment, share it, like it, do all that stuff. More features coming. I even got a couple people coming to do other sports as well, like hockey, baseball, NASCAR, whatever's coming up. But until then, this is So Disrespectful. I'm your host, Suave Els, and I'm saying, be blessed, be good.
Welcome to So Disrespect.